Okay. So in the last class, we have seen what is the difference between execute reader, execute scalar, execute non-query, and how to prepare your connection object, how to establish the connection, and how to execute your command. We have seen how to call it direct SQL query. How to call it direct SQL query. Now we will see how to call your stored procedure. How to call your stored procedure. And before that, let's see the difference. Let's move towards the next concept, that is data set and data adapter. And data table also. You need to be aware of these things. So what is a data table? This is a kind of special type of data type has been provided with your C# data table, right? So if I want to store collection of characters, what should be my data type? It should be string. If I want to hold an integer, what should be my data type? It should be an int. For example, your query is going to extract collection of records. Your query is going to extract collection of records. Where should I store my collection of records? You can store it into data reader, but the problem is SQL data reader will make use of static cursor. It means if the connect while performing your operation, if the connection gets closed, or if the connection gets closed due to any reason, and whatever is extracted into a data reader will be destroyed immediately. So there may be some chances of losing data during your operation because it will make use of static cursor. So it will be working till the connection is open. If the connection gets closed due to any reason, whatever is extracted into a data reader, this will be closed. The entire data will be lost. Read me. So if I lose something during my operation, so what happens? I will not be able to complete my operation. This leads to a problem. That's why better get it loaded into one of your local variable. Get it loaded into one of your local variable into your inline memory. Get it stored that into your inline memory, somewhere in your inline memory, so that your data will be safe. Though the connection is closed, it would not impact your operation. If I keep this thing into data reader, if I play with the data reader, the data in data reader will be available till your connection is open. Once it gets closed, it will be lost. Okay, so that's why just to be on the safer side, what has to be done? So do not store this into your data reader. Get it loaded into one of your in-memory collection variable, local variable. So that is going to be your data table. This will be used to just store data, that's all. Data table. And if you are going to extract multiple tables, not only one data table, if your query is going to extract multiple data tables, if you're going to extract a single table, you can make use of data table. If your query is extracting more than one table, for example, I'm going to execute more than one query, like select star from customer, select star from transactions. If I'm sending two queries at a time, it will extract two tables data. Now I cannot accommodate multiple tables into the single data table. I can accommodate only one table at a time. So if you want to accommodate multiple tables into a single data variable, then your approach should be towards a data set. Data set is kind of in-memory database, inline database, which will have collection of tables. where you can store collection of tables, not only one table. Okay, if you want to hold a single table, then go with data table. If you want to hold collection of data tables, then better option is data set. It acts like an in-memory database, and it will make use of dynamic cursor. So though the connection is lost, still your data will be available in your in-memory. Once data is extracted, it doesn't depend on the connection. Though the connection is closed, but still you will have your data in the data set. So you'll be able to complete your operation. So that is the difference between data reader and data set. This is a very important question. What is the difference between data reader and data set? Data reader is connection oriented data object. It will be working till the connection is available. Once connection gets closed, the data in data reader will be lost. If you don't want to depend on your connection, if something has to be working irrespective of the state of the connection, then your approach should be towards data set and data table. A data set will be something like your in-memory database, where you can store collection of data tables, where you can hold collection of data tables without depending on the connection. So this data will be available throughout your process. Though the connection is lost, but still you will have your data in data set, you can continue with your operation. Alright, first let's see data table. So for example, here in this case, I have extracted my data from data reader and given that source to data grid view. So I just wanted to display this data using data grid view. So I gave this source to data grid view. While I'm working on this process, while I'm running my application, the connection to that particular database is lost due to some unknown reason. So what happens? Now, whatever is extracted to your data reader, this will also be lost. So you cannot see anything in your data grid. So if you want to hold it until your process is completed and irrespective of the state of your connection, though the connection is closed, if your data has to be available throughout the process, okay, so when your data has to be available throughout the process, even after closing the connection, then your approach should be towards either data table or data set. How do I do it using data table? We have a variable called data type called data table. Press tab 2 times. Data table. We have a special data type called data table. This will allow you to place collection of rows and columns where you can store a complete table into this data type. Create instance of this a data table, some dt is equal to data table. It comes with a method called load. Press 2 tabs. dt.load and give the source. And whatever is there in the data reader, we are just saving them. We are loading that data into my data table. Now what happens? If the connection gets closed to your database, data will be lost from your data reader, but data will not be lost from your data table. Now what I'm doing, I'm just copying the data reader into one of my local variable, in-memory variable. Now, if the connection gets close to your database, immediately data will be lost from your data reader, but will not be lost from your data table. Now, if I assign, in place of dr, I will assign dt. Now, what happens? Though the connection is closed, but still I will have my data. Data will not be lost from my data grid view. Let's run this. These are the different ways to hold your data. Now I can see my data. Okay. Even after losing the connection also, you will see your data. Right? Next, what is data set? So data set in most of the applications, we'll be using data table and data set. Data set will act like an in-memory database. Why I am calling it as in-memory database? What is a database? Database will have collection of data tables, right? So here also, if you're having the requirement of holding collection of tables in your in-memory during your process, this is the only option we have, data set. You need to hold your data using data set. Once something is placed into your data set, it will be available throughout the process. It doesn't depend on state of the connection. It will be available even after closing the connection also. Okay. So data table can hold only one table at a time, but whereas data set can hold multiple tables. And internally, all tables will be stored in array format. All tables will be stored in array format. It means if you are holding 10 tables in the data set, where is my first table? It will be available at 0th position. Where is my second table? It will be available at first position, like your array. If I want to access any table directly, we can also access them using index, and you can also access them using their name. But if I want to hold data using data set, I should not execute these comments directly. I should not call execute reader, execute scalar, and execute non-carry directly. Rather, I can make use of another command builder called data adapter. Data adapter. Data adapter is a class which comes with set of commands like select, insert, delete, and update. It is like a bridge between your data set and database. It's like a bridge between your data set and database. It's like a mediator between your data set and your actual database. Okay, so data adapter has been built using set of commands like select, insert, delete, and update. This will take care of performing all types of operations where you don't have to call these methods explicitly: execute reader, execute scalar, execute non-query. If you're not going to use data adapter, then you have to decide which method has to be used for your operation. If you're going to extract the data, use the execute reader. If you're going to extract a single value, use execute scalar. If you're not going to extract anything, if you're just going to insert a delete and update, then use execute non-query. Okay. So if you don't want to write this explicitly, if this decision has to be taken automatically, if this has to be executed automatically by the system, then make use of data adapter. This is the adapter. It has been built using set of SQL commands. It knows how to get data, how to extract, how to delete, and how to update. And based on your SQL query, it will decide which method has to be called. It acts as a mediator between data set and database. Why I'm calling it as a mediator means any changes to data set, it will take care of updating that into the database. And based on your query, any changes to your database will be updated into your data set. It will take care of extracting data into your data set. What it will do, if you just provide your command, if you just build your adapter with the required command, it will take care of executing that command on the database, extracting the data, and filling your data set. And if you make any changes to your data set, like I modified some value, I've added some new row into my data set, your data adapter will take care of updating that changes into your data set, database. Any questions, guys?
No, sir.
Okay, let's see how to use data adapter and data set. Now I'm not going to use SQL reader, and I'm not going to tell the system which method has to be used. Okay, just remove this. I'm going to remove all these things. DT also. How do I use it? So first, create your data adapter. Data adapter. Here we have, this is SQL client. So SQL data adapter. If it is Oracle client, you will see Oracle data adapter. If it is OLDB, you will see OLDB data adapter. SQL data adapter. So if you press double tap, it will create the object. OBJ adapter is equal to SQL data adapter. It is a class which comes with set of commands which will take care of performing different operations with your database and your data set. Now, as I said, while building your adapter, you to tell the system like which command has to be executed. Where is my command? I already built my command, right? I set the connection property. This is my command, obj command. This is my command. Here I prepared my command object, right? Attach the connection, attach the command type, and attach the command text, like which command has to be executed. So while building your data adapter, you have to provide your command here, obj command. Now this is having everything. Your command is having everything. While building it, we should tell the system which database it is, what type of authentication has to be used. Okay, so the credential information, database information, and command information, what command has to be going to be executed. Okay, so the complete information has been attached to your command object. So while building your adapter, it means while instantiating the class of your SQL adapter, you have to provide this information. So that complete information is available with your command object. So while building your adapter, so you have to pass your command object as a parameter, right? Now, what has to be done? As I said, so whatever is there here, now I don't need to call execute reader or execute scalar because this has already been built using those commands. I just need to pass my command as parameter. Now, it comes with set of methods like obj adapter dot, here you can see fill, update, insert. As I said, it has been built using different things. Now, what my command will do? My command will extract data from employee table. Now, what I have to do? So this will take care of executing this command in the database. Once data is extracted, what should be done? I should fill that data into my data set. So create a data set. Data set DS is equal to new data set. Like your data table, I am creating an object of my data set because technically data set is a class. Okay, so which will have collection of data tables. Okay, which can hold collection of data tables. Now what I'm doing, I just created instance of my data set to hold collection of tables. Now I build my adapter with the required command information. Now what should I do? Now what your adapter will do, it will execute this command and extract the information. Now what should I do? So whatever is extracted through adapter, that should be filled into my data set. So your data adapter comes with a method called fill method. It will take care of filling that into your data set. Where to fill? So I should give my data set name. So it should be filled into this data set. Right? Just created. I'm not using any execute reader or execute scalar here. Right? I'm not using an execute reader or execute scalar. So what it will do? So first I just created instance of my data set to hold data during my process in memory and build your adapter with the required command details. I just created instance of SQL data adapter, and while instantiating it, I provided my command information as parameter. So your adapter will be built using this command. Now it will take care of the command that is provided here. What it will do, it will extract employee information from database. So once it is extracted through data adapter, what should I do? Now your data adapter should fill that information into your data set. That is what I am doing. OBJ adapter, this is a data adapter object. Object dot fill. Fill method will take care of filling the information extracted from your database into your data set. Any questions, guys, so far?
No.
No, sir.
Now, I should, if you want to bind this data, your data set data into your data grid view, the data source is going to be not data table. Now it is going to be DS data set. But as I said, data set can have collection of tables. Internally, all tables will be stored in array format. In our case, it is going to extract only one table. Are you getting me? But you can also write multiple queries, something like this. Select star from employee, select star from customer. I can pass multiple queries. Select star from employee, select star from customer. In this case, what happens? Select star from customer. So this will extract one table. and this will extract one table. In this case, I'm going to get two tables, right? Yes, it will extract, will execute these two commands. It will extract those two tables information, something like this. If I execute this in the backend database, it will give me two tables, right? In this case, your adapter is going to extract two tables information. Okay, it can, you can fill n number of tables into your database, not only two tables. Okay, but internally, all tables will be stored in array format. It means the first table data will be stored at 0th format in the form of a table, and second one will be stored at first index. Okay, okay. Now in our case, it is going to extract only one table, right? So where that table will be available at 0th index. So how do I access this? ds dot tables of, you have to provide that index 0. Tables of 0 means first two table. Tables of 1 means second table. Tables of 2 means third table. Right? So now I am assigning this first two table to this data source. So whatever is there in the table 0, that will be assigned to your data grid view. Now run this. Let's execute this. Let me keep a breakpoint. Okay. Now I'm going to create my data set. See, now my data set is empty. It is empty. Now this is my data adapter. I just created my data adapter. Right? So this has been built using this command, obj command. Okay, because this command is having everything. We attached everything to my command. Like we attached the connection information, we attach the command type, which command type it is going to be. We also attach the command text. Now it has everything. So that's why while building your adapter, give your command as a parameter, so that it will know, like, what has to be done in the database. Okay, so it reads everything from your command object and take the appropriate action. So it will take care of executing this command. Once the command is executed, some result will be produced. Here we are going to get one table data, that is employee. Now what has to be done? Your command should take care of filling that result set into your data set. So that's why if you want to fill that result set into data set, call fill method, and where to fill this, give the data set name. So it will take care of filling the data into this particular data set. So far it is empty, nothing is there. Now see this. Now we got some data. See, if I click on view, here I can see collection of tables here. That's why this drop down is provided. Here I have only one table. That's why I can see only one table. If I have extracted multiple tables, you can see multiple tables here. Okay. Now what will be my data source for here for GridView employee? So this is going to be data set. But data set can have multiple tables. That's why you should always provide the index, whether you want to display the first table, second table, third table, or fourth table. That corresponding index has to be provided. As I said, inside data set, it can have multiple tables, but all tables will be stored in array format. So whenever you want to access any specific table, the respective index has to be supplied like your array. Okay, now display this. Any questions, guys?
No, sir.
Okay. Next, let's see other database operations, like how to search, how to insert a new record, how to delete, and how to update. Okay. First, search operation. Let's keep it here. Let's keep it here. Go to common controls. Label. How many fields are there? Okay, now we have seen a plain text, right? And we will see how to execute your command using a stored procedure. Okay, how many columns are there? Employed, employee name, gender, and salary. Okay, right. So we have already created one stored procedure. What is that? Get employee, right? So this will take care of. This will take care of. 1 second, it is taking time. Okay. What it will do? It will take care of extracting employee information, right? It will take care of extracting employee information. Okay. So far we have seen how to execute a direct SQL query. Now we will see how to call your stored procedure, right? If I send the SQL query directly, so there will be two problems. Every time this query has to be compiled first, and your query execution plan has to be created. Then it will be executed. So it will not be executed directly without any compilation. So the compilation plan has to be executed, created every time. If I'm going to call it 100 different times, every time it will be compiled, and every time your compilation plan will be recreated, right? So that leads to a problem. So every time, the query is going to be same, parameters are going to be changed, nothing is going to be changed. So why should I compile it again and again, right? So rather you can execute it directly and you can reuse the execution plan created during its first compilation, right? If you want to do that, then your approach should be towards stored procedure. We have already discussed this, right? So if I call stored procedure, there will be two advantages. Your query will be executed directly without any compilation. So the compilation time will be saved. So it will be working very faster compared to your direct SQL query. And second advantage, if your query is going to be travel from your UI to backend over the network, so there may be a security risk. Hackers may hack your SQL and inject some malicious data, right? So that can be overcome using your stored procedure, right? Now what I will do, I will not call this query directly from my UI. Rather, I created my stored procedure and kept my SQL inside the stored procedure. Now I'm not going to call this SQL. Now I'm going to call my stored procedure. What I will do, if you want to call your stored procedure, then command type should be stored procedure. Command type should be stored procedure. Now I'm not going to call this SQL directly. Now I'm going to call my stored procedure. Give stored procedure name, get employee, DBO dot get employee or get employee. By default, it will be DBO only. Now, what happens? I kept my SQL, the same SQL, I have kept it inside the stored procedure. Now I'm not calling this directly. Now I'm calling my stored procedure. Now what happens? Whenever I call this stored procedure, it will be executed directly without any compilation. Why? Because this query will be compiled only once throughout the lifetime during your stored procedure creation. And once it's compiled successfully, some execution plan will be created. That execution plan would also be stored in our database. Whenever I execute this next time, the same execution plan will be reused towards different sub requests. So your query will be executed without any compilation, and execution plan would also be reused. So that compilation time will be saved every time. So this will be working very faster compared to a direct SQL query. And second thing, if this gets hacked by your hacker, earlier we were passing the SQL query. Now we are passing only stored procedure name. If this gets hacked by your hacker, you can just see the SP name, stored procedure name, but it doesn't know what is there inside this stored procedure. You can just see the stored procedure name, but it doesn't know what is there inside this stored procedure. So it is very difficult to hit your SQL. Now we are minimizing risk of injecting malicious data. Here we can get rid of SQL injections. Read me. So it provides security and it will be executing very faster compared to your direct SQL query. Okay, now let's see. Now we are calling the stored procedure. See, my data has been whatever my direct SQL was doing, and same thing is being done by my stored procedure. But what is the difference? If I pass direct SQL query here, what happens? If this gets hacked by your hacker, this is direct, this is just simple select statement. But when it comes to real-time application, we will be supplying insert statement, delete statement, and update statement. If that gets hacked by your hacker, you can clearly see everything. Already me, you can clearly track what is going to be done in your database. You can inject some malicious data into your database. Already me. So that's why this is highly not recommended. If you want to perform any SQL operation, do not pass SQL queries like this, because the first disadvantage is every time this query will be compiled and every time that execution plan has to be recreated, it will not be executed directly without any compilation. So this is not recommended. Get rid of direct SQL query. Rather, create your own stored procedure and keep your SQL inside this. And do not call your SQL query, and in place of this, call your stored procedure. It will be executed directly without any compilation, and it will minimize the risk of SQL injection. These are the main advantages of stored procedure, view, and user-defined function. Any question there?
No, sir.
No.
Okay. And rather, you can also, okay, if there is no requirement of passing input parameters, you can also make use of a view. Create your own view. Create view name. Let's say get EMP data as write your SQL. Right? If no SQL parameters are required, if no parameters are required, this is highly recommended. View. Create your view. View name. You can give any name. I'm giving something like VW underscore get employee data as select star from employee. My view has been created. Right? Now, how do I access my view? Simple. Now, do not expose your table. Use your view. Select star from my view name. Right? Now, we are hiding your actual table by using your view. If I send like this, here what I'm doing, I'm exposing my original table name. So if this gets hacked by a hacker, you can easily track the information of your table and everything, right? So here what I'm doing, I'm hiding the actual table name. I'm exposing the table data using view, right? You can also do the similar thing from here. Instead of table, create your view and give your view name. Execute it. Okay, now I'm not going to use this. I'm going to use data reader. Skill data reader, dr is equal to obj command dot execute reader. Data table, I'm going to make use of this because data adapter, you need to change some configuration. dt dot load of dr. Okay, get this executed and load it into your data table and assign your data table. Oh, sorry. Now you tell me, what is error here? Just read this code and tell me, where is the error? Guys, did you understand my question?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Okay, let me revert it back. Where is the error? Read it properly and tell me. Here is the error. Okay, I'll give you some hint.
Yeah.
The error exists in these lines.
We are calling view instead of the store procedure.
Very good, very good. Your comment type is stored procedure, but this is not a stored procedure, right? For others, it should be plain text. Right? So this is also kind of direct SQL query. The only thing is you're hiding your actual table, right? Rather, you are interacting with your view. View is also kind of virtual table, right? It will be stored on your table. It's a kind of wrapper above your table. Done. Right? But this is also little risky because there is one advantage and one disadvantage. What is the advantage? My direct SQL query has been stored inside this view. So this is a kind of pre-compiled code. Whenever I execute my view, it will be executed without any compilation because this query will be compiled only once throughout the lifetime and execution plan will be reused. But through view also, you can perform inserts and updates. Right? We have seen that. You have inserted and updated data through your view. Right? So there is a chance of injecting malicious data through view also. Right? The first advantage is it will be executed directly without any compilation. It saves execution time, like compilation time. But disadvantage is this could also be hacked by your hackers. There are chances of SQL injection. So what should I do? Now again, I should create my stored procedure. This is my stored procedure. Let's say get employee. Rather than accessing it from your employee, access it from your view. This will give you double benefits. Alright, me select star from and keep this thing inside your stored procedure. Right? Now what happens? Now I can call my stored procedure name. Your comment type is going to be stored procedure. And this is going to be my stored procedure name. Execute it. Right? Now what happens? If the hacker hacks your SQL, your command, he can see the stored procedure name, but doesn't know what is there inside this stored procedure. Again, this stored procedure calls this view. Read me. So calling stored procedures is highly recommended if you are going to interact with your database. We should get rid of sending direct SQL queries to your table as well as your view. Get them placed into your stored procedure and call your stored procedure from your front-end application. And this is going to be same across all types of applications. Everywhere, where it is a console, Windows or web or mobile, everywhere the coding is going to be same. This will not be changed. This is your action. Your action, right? Where are we writing this action? In C#. In console, C#. In Windows, C#. In web, C#. In mobile, C#. Alright, so writing your action is not going to be changed in any application. Everywhere you will write similar type of coding. Okay. So prepare your connection, prepare your command object and attach everything to your command. Open your connection, then decide how do you want to execute it. Whether using data reader or data adapter. If it is a data reader, which method has to be used to invoke your command has to be specified explicitly by the developer. If it is a data adapter, you don't have to specify that. You just need to call that ready-made method, built-in method of your adapter. Any questions, guys?
No.
Okay, now
No,
you
sir.
know how to call a direct SQL query, how to call a stored procedure, and how to call a view. Right? Now let's perform some operations like search, insert, delete, and update. Okay. First, let's see search, label, and text box. Where is it? Text box. Okay, label. Let's say employee ID. Text box. Name txt employee ID. Okay. So here I want to search with either employee ID or employee name. Okay. Here, what should be my query here? Select star from employee, where employee ID is equal to your ID entered by the user, right? So here I will enter that employee ID. Now your code should, like read the employee ID entered by the user and go to database, extract that respective record and display that in the grid view. Okay. So how to do this? After entering my employee ID, here I am going to place a button. I'm going to place a button. I'll just click on search. Search. Or find or get. You can give anything. Get. And what is the name of this? Get button btn get employee. When should I search this? Whenever the user click on get. Now what has to be done? You to prepare your connection, prepare your comment, establish connection to your database and search for this employee, get the result back and present it into your grid. So when should I perform this action? On click of this button. So where should I write my action? On click event of this. Whenever user click on that button, this on click event will be executed. Here you need to write that action. Okay. So I just want to reuse this. I just want to reuse this code because everything is going to be similar, right? Preparing command object and everything is going to be similar, right? So I just want to reuse this code. This is your connection object that is going to be common across all your method. All I need to do here is similar process. Similar process. But here, what should I do? Here it will extract everything, but it is not like that. So whatever is user is looking for, so whatever is entered by the user, I should look for only that particular employee, right? This code, what it will do, it will extract all employees information, but it should not be like that. I should look for only the employee. I should look for only that particular employee. Okay, I should look for the employee ID entered by the end user. So how do I write my query? Select star from employee where, what is the column name here? EMP ID. Where EMP ID is equal to, and which employee? Employee ID entered by the user. From where it is coming? It is coming from this text box. What is the name of this text box? TXT employee. Just go and see this. What is the name of this text box? TXT employee ID. So user will enter employed in this text box. Now I have to read that employee ID entered by the user from this text box and pass it as parameter. That's why I'm preparing my query. Select star from employee. And which employee record has to be extracted? The employee ID entered by the user, where employee ID is equal to, here I am giving this. It is going to come from this text box. And what it will do? Whatever is entered by the user will be taken as input, where employee ID is equal to, let us assume that user has entered 3. It will become something like select star from employee where employee ID is equal to 3 or 4, 5, 6. That's it. Similar thing. What do data type will do? So whatever is provided here, it will just take care of executing that command and extracting the result, filling that into a data set. Any questions, guys?
No. No, sir.
Okay. How many employees are there here? 1, 2, 3. Okay. Now, if you want, you can just clear this. BZ employee dot clear. Or you can just set it to null. Data source is equal to you can also call this readmade method clear. Would also clear the things. Either you can set it to null, the entire source will become null, or you can also clear this. Now, click on 2. Can I clear this? Is making use of staticus. How do I stop this? If you don't want to see all the records, you can just comment this out. Okay, now your grid is empty. Okay. Now I'm going to search for employee ID 2. Click on get. Employee 2 is not there. Where employee ID is equal to select star from tell me where is the error? Here it should be text. You're passing direct SQL query, right? You're not calling a stored procedure. So what should be the comment type? It should be text. Two. See, I got 2. 1. I got 1. 3. I got 3. Now I'm able to search the data. Any questions, guys?
No, sir.
Okay. Now, how do we write it in the real time? If you are a professional developer, you should not implement it like this. I should get this from somewhere, right? So create a separate method. When it comes to real-time environment, we'll be creating a separate method. How do you do that? Private void find employee of string EMP ID. This is what a professional developer will do. Okay, I'm just changing the way. I'm showing both. Now here it is not going to be text employee ID. Whatever is supplied to your method should give that as input. What happens? This method, if I decouple this from button click event, now this can be called from anywhere from your application. This can be reached by n number of people. Now, wherever I need to find employee, now what should I do? I just call this method find employee. It takes one parameters. It expects one parameter to be supplied from the calling. What is that? Employee ID. Now it is going to come from txt employee ID dot text. This is what you have to do in the real time. And here you can also write the comment. If I press 3 slashes, the XML comment will be generated. Here you can write your comment. It gets a specific employee data based on EMP ID. Now what happens whenever user click on button click, immediately this event will be triggered. What it is doing? It is calling employee, find employee. Any questions, guys?
No, sir.
No.
Now 2 1. Okay. So this is what we do as part of your search operation. So not only employee ID, you could also search using any field based on your requirement. Okay. So next, let's see how to save your data. How to save your data. This is for finding something. Okay. So let's see how to save it. So in order to save your data, we need to send 3 values: employee name, gender, and salary. And before that, again, you're sending direct SQL query. Again, you're sending direct SQL query, right? So this is not recommended. What should I do? I should keep this SQL inside my stored procedure. So create a stored procedure. Create a stored procedure. Create pros something like sp underscore find employee. If I need to find employee, what should I do? That particular employee ID should be supplied by the end user. It means this parameter should be supplied to your stored procedure. So I'm going to need a parameter. What is the type of that? Let's say EMP ID. It is going to be integer. Right? If I need to search for some employee, I need some unique identity of the employee. So that is going to be employee ID. So if you want to call this stored procedure, if you want this stored procedure to identify that particular employee, you should supply this particular parameter value from the calling environment. Now I will write my query. Select star from employee where EMP ID is equal to @EMP ID. So employee ID is supplied from the calling environment. Right? So if I want to call this, I should supply this parameter. Now I'm going to get rid of this thing, right? I don't want to pass this SQL query. Rather, I want to call a stored procedure. Here, what should be my comment type? It will be stored procedure. Stored procedure. Okay. Now call your stored procedure. This is my stored procedure, but this stored procedure expects some parameter to be supplied from the calling environment. What is that parameter? Employee ID. Right? Now, how do I attach that parameter information to my command? If you're going to call a stored procedure, if this expects any parameter to be supplied from the calling environment, you should also attach that parameter name, parameter information. Like what is the name of the parameter and which value has to be supplied to that parameter. So how do I supply it? So it is very simple. Obj command dot. It comes with a property called parameters. Parameters dot add with value of parameter name. So the parameter name that you're giving here should be matched with the parameter of your stored procedure. It should be matched. Otherwise, it throws the error. Parameter name, comma. Which value has to be supplied? Employee ID. What happens? It will also attach the parameter information. If your stored procedure expects 3 parameters to be supplied from the calling environment, so it should, yeah, 3 parameters should be attached, something like this. Your EMP name, something like this. Are you with me? So you should attach, if that expects some parameters to be supplied, you should attach all those parameters to your command object like this. What is the parameter name and which value has to be supplied to this parameter? Any questions, guys?
No. No.
Okay, now we are calling a parameter, we are calling a stored procedure with parameters. Now see. So now we are executing stored procedure, right? Okay, so when it comes to real-time environment, this is what a professional developer will do. We do get rid of all direct SQL queries and get them replaced with the stored procedures. From 99% of the real-time applications, we do call only stored procedures. Okay. Next, we will see how to save, delete, and update. Here, get. And along with that, I want to delete some specific record. Let me write delete operation. Go to toolbox, add one more button. Properties. Text. Delete. And name of this button delete employee. If I say get will get something. Get will search and extract the information. If I say delete, it will just delete the record, but it doesn't extract anything. It will just delete record from your database, but it doesn't return anything. But in case of get, if I say select star from employee, yes, it will select data into your result set. If I say delete some particular record from employee, what happens? It will just delete the record from your database, but doesn't return anything. Okay. So in case of delete also, similar thing. I'm just going to copy this because everything is similar for all your CRUD operations. I'm going to write one more separate method here. Private employee, delete employee. Right? If you want to delete an employee, you should supply the identity, unique identity of the employee. Otherwise, more than one employee might get deleted. Right? Whenever I say delete, it should delete only that specific employee. So in that case, in order to delete that particular employee, I should supply the accurate and unique identity of the employee. That is going to be employee ID. Now, I'm not going to extract anything. I'm not going to extract anything. Are you to me? But still, after deleting something, if you want to display the rest of the records, you can do this. Okay. But I'm not going to delete anything. So I'm not going to extract anything. I'm just removing this. Now, what should I do? I should write my comment. It is going to be text. Or you can also, write use a stored procedure. As I said, forget about direct SQL queries. Now you should start writing your SPs. I'm going to create one more SP. Create pros SP underscore delete employee. Delete employee. In order to delete this employee, so what should I do? I should ask user to send the unique identity of the employee. So here we should expect something to be supplied from the calling environment. So that is going to be unique identity of the employee. What is the unique identity of the employee? It is going to be employee ID int as delete from employee. Okay, now forget about direct SQL query. Now from now on, you should start writing only stored procedures. Delete from employee where employee ID is equal to the employee ID supplied from the calling environment. Now what it will do, whatever is supplied from the calling environment, it will take care of deleting only that particular element, particular record. Okay, now call this stored procedure. It is going to be sp underscore delete employee. Now it expects one parameter to be supplied. So attach that parameter that is going to be unique identity of the employee, which is nothing but employee ID. Now here, as I said, when it comes to command object, it comes with three methods: execute reader, execute scalar, execute non-query. If you are going to extract something, use execute reader or execute scalar. But if you're not going to extract something, if you're going to perform any DML operation, data manipulation operation, like saving, updating, and deleting. If you're saving something, updating something, or deleting, which method has to be used? Which method has to be used?
The last method, non-query.
Very good. Execute non-query. If you're performing any saving operation or updation or deletion, you have to call non-query. So OB is a comment dot execute non-query. It doesn't return any data, but it returns one integer value that is going to be 1 or 0. If the operation is successful, it will return 1. Otherwise, it will return 0. If you just want to know whether that record has been deleted successfully or not, you can do that using the integer value returned by execute non-query. So here you can see it returns int. That will tell you whether the operation is successful or not, but it doesn't return any data. So now we are calling this SP and attach the unique identity of the employee. Now this will take care of executing the stored procedure. What the stored procedure will do, it will take care of deleting that particular employee from this. Okay, so after deleting this, now you can display the rest of the records. Here you can tell him like message box dot show. Okay, employee number, and it is EMP ID. Has been deleted successfully. I'm just giving some message after deleting this. Now you can display the leftover in the grid. In order to display the leftover, I just need to call this method. That's it. Where is that method? This method. Bind employee data. If I call this, the rest over, the whatever is left over will be displayed. I don't need to write that coding again and again. So that's why I told you, like, if any piece of code is written as a separate method, can be reused in number of times from a number of places. Now for displaying the data, I don't need to write the coding again, right? Now I just need to call this bind employee data. This will take care of displaying the data. Nothing, right? Get and delete. Are we calling it from delete? No. Go to your form and go to your delete button. From here, I should call this, otherwise it will not be executed. Delete employee. Which employee? So whatever the employee ID entered in the text box should be deleted. Now it will make a call to your delete employee. Right? Now I can say get, it will get. If I say delete, what happens? 2 will be deleted. Employee number 2 has been deleted successfully. Just go and check in the database. Earlier we have 3, right? Now select star from employee. See, now only 2 got deleted. Are you following me? And leftover is 1, 3. Now if I want to delete number 3, delete. Employee number 3 has been deleted successfully. Leftover is only 1. Now you can see. Any questions?
No.
Now we know how to find, how
No,
to delete. Next, we will see how to save and update. Okay. For saving also, we need to write a store procedure. Okay. Create cross sp underscore save employee for new employee, right? Now, how many values are required? How many values to be supplied from the calling environment from your registration page? 3 values. Employee is an auto generated value. It is an identity column. So this will be generated automatically. So all we need to expect here is employee name, gender, and salary. So if you're expecting some values to be supplied from the calling environment, so those many values should be taken as those many parameters. So I need employee name. So take employee name parameter, emp name, where care of some 50. Next, gender to be supplied, gender, care of 1. Next, salary. Salary. Decimal, right? We took it as now write your insert query. Insert into employee. You can specify the column names also. EMP name, comma, gender, comma, salary. And what has to be inserted? Values. Whatever is supplied from the calling environment. And those are going to be stored into your parameters. To employee name, whatever is there in employee name parameter to be inserted. To gender, and whatever is sent to gender. And to salary, and whatever is sent to salary. Right? Now execute it. Now I need to call this if I want to save any data. So first, keep some text boxes here because you need to let user enter his details. Okay. I'm going to toolbox. Properties. New, add new user. Okay, next. Toolbox. Employee name. Employee name text box. Next. Gender. For gender, what should I do? It should not be text box. It should be drop down. So you can also keep your text box. Anything is fine. Okay. Okay. Label. EMP name. Text box. EMP name. Gender. Next, salary. And name of this text box. So this name of this text box should give some meaningful names. Okay. TXT EMP name. Because when we access it in the code behind file, it will be easier. TXT gender. Next. txt salary. Okay. So if this is called design file, and wherever you're writing your action, this is also called as code behind file, code behind file. So the actual design code will be there in the designer file. Your actions will be there in the code behind file. So why are we giving a specific identities? Because whenever you need to access data from these controls, because on the same form, you'll be keeping thousands of controls. It is very difficult to identify them. That's why if you give them some proper names, when it comes to code behind, so it will become easier for you to access these things using their identities. Okay. Employee name, gender, and salary. Okay. Now, let me keep another button called save. Save. Text, save. Identity is nothing but name property is going to be button save. Okay. Now user will enter employee name, gender, and salary. And when I click on save, this record has to be saved into the database. Where should I write my code? On click of save, go to save. But again, as I said, do not bind anything directly to your save button, rather decouple it, write a separate method, call it from your that thing. I'm just going to reuse this code. Write another method called save employee. But here, in order to save the employee, it is going to need 3 parameters: emp name, string, gender, string, salary. Why am I taking it as string? Because it is coming from text box. In text box, everything will be stored in the form of a string. Okay. Now, what should be my stored procedure name? It is going to be save employee. Save employee. And how many parameters it expects to be supplied? It expects 3 parameters to be supplied from the calling environment. So now I need to attach 3 parameters. First parameter is going to be employee name. Parameter name should be matched. So whatever we are giving here should be matched with your stored procedure. Here I am going to supply emp name. Next, I need to add 2 more parameters. Copy this. What is the second parameter? It is going to be gender. Add gender. Gender. And what is my third parameter? It is going to be salary. Salary. Right? Here, employee has been saved successfully. Employee has been saved successfully. Now I'm calling bind employee data to see the latest data. Okay. So what are we doing here? So we need these 3 parameters to be supplied from the calling environment. Like whenever you need to insert a new employee, these are the main parameters that are required to save your data. Right? So call that SP and attach the required parameters. It takes 3 parameters, so you should attach 3 parameters. And while attaching the parameter names, you should be very careful. You should always cross-check this name with your actual stored procedure parameter name. Both should be matched. Otherwise, it throws the error. So what is the parameter name and which value has to be supplied to this parameter name? So EMP name will be supplied to this, gender will be supplied to this, salary will be supplied to this. And whenever it comes to your stored procedure, those 3 values will be stored into these 3 parameters respectively. And now it will insert this data into employee. Any questions, guys?
No.
Now, from where I should call it? Whenever user click on save, here I need to call it save employee. But it expects 3 parameters to be supplied. Where is employee name? It is going to come from txt employee name. That's why we should give proper names to your controls. Here we can easily access them. We can easily identify them. Next, gender, txt gender dot text. So whatever is there in gender, that is going to come. Next, salary, txt salary. dot text. Okay. So user will enter name into this text box, gender into this text box, salary into this text box. We are just getting those values from these three text boxes and passing them into save employee. This will take care of adding the employee record. Now execute it. Right now, employee name UI test 1. UI test 1. Gender female. Salary 5,000. Save. Employee has been saved successfully. Now see, it has been inserted. You can also see in your database. Select start from employee. See, it got inserted. Now I can keep on adding n number of elements here. View test 2. Employee mail 7,000. Save. See. From your registration page, what Google is doing from their registration page, what Facebook is doing, they're also doing the same thing. It will ask you to enter all the details. Whenever you click on register or save, what it will do? It will do like this. Right? It will do like this. Let me show you. For example, Gmail registration. You click on create account. Right? So what it is saying, it will ask you to enter the required field, first name, last name, email, and final what it will do. If I click on next, what it will do? It calls a stored procedure. The stored procedure takes these values as parameters and saves it into the database. So whatever we are doing here, the similar thing will be there everywhere. Right? So you can keep on adding a number of things like this. Any questions, guys?
No,
No.
sir.
Oh, now we know how to find, how to delete, how to save. Next, we'll see last operation, how to update the existing employee. How to update the existing employee. Okay. For update, write one more stored procedure. SP underscore update employee. For example, I want to update employee salary or employee name, anything. Okay. Update employee salary. For employee name, you can write another thing. So what else is required here? All I need is what is the new salary to be updated and which employee. I can update all employees, right? So the identity of the employee. Identity of the employee. Now I can update it. How do I update it? Update employee set salary is equal to new salary supplied from the UI. This one. Salary is equal to salary. Now, if I execute this command, what happens? All employees will be updated with the same salary. No, only that particular employee. So write where condition. Where employee ID is equal to this employee ID. Now what happens? We are updating a particular employee record. We are updating a particular employee record with this new salary. I can give it as something new salary. Meaningful name. Update salary is equal to new salary. right? Let's see. But for update, update salary. So I need the new salary and which employee? Employee ID. Right? New salary means revised salary and employee. This is going to be the text box name is going to be txt new salary. Next, this one txt emp to be updated. Okay, this is save, move it here. Here I'm going to place another button for updating this. Button update salary. Text. Right? Enter which employee salary has to be updated and what is the new salary. Click on update. And again, as I said, if you are aware of how to establish the connection, how to prepare your comment, how to execute it, that's it. Everywhere, it is console, Windows, web, everywhere the coding is going to be similar. There is no change. In all operation, are we changing anything? We are just changing the parameter SP names, that's it. But the core concept, like how to prepare your connection, how to establish the connection, how to prepare your command, how to call plains text, like how to call a direct SQL query, or how to call a stored procedure. If the stored procedure expects any parameters to be supplied, how to attach your parameters along with the values, how to open the connection, and how to execute your command. These are going to be common across all types of applications. Are you following me, guys?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, update employee. If you understood whatever I explained today, if this is really clear to you, if you really understood this, you're done. You can work on any kind of real-time application. Everywhere you will see only these kind of things. That's all. Okay. Now, for update, how many parameters are required? I need salary and which employee. String emp ID. Here I'm going to need only two parameters. One is salary. Another one is going to be emp ID. Not salary. As I said, this is going to be new salary. And the parameter name should be matched with your store procedure parameter. This should be matched, otherwise it throws the error. This is not going to be salary. This is going to be new salary. And next, it is going to be emp ID. Now, employee salary has been updated successfully. Now call to see the latest data. Call this method to see the latest data. It is going to be not save employee, it is going to be update employee salary. Right? Now, when it should be executed, whenever user click on update, call it from here. It expects two values to be supplied. Where do it come from? It is going to come from, the new salary is going to come from txt new salary dot text, comma, txt empid employee to be updated dot text. That's all. Whenever I click on update button, this event will be triggered. Click event of that update button will be triggered. And from here, I'm calling update employee. So it will take care of updating employee. Okay, first let's check this before going there. Now we have 4 records, right? I want to update this particular employee. This particular employee salary is 7,000. I want to update this employee number 5 with 15,000. Okay, let's do this. Okay, new salary, let's say 15,000. Which employee? 5. Okay, what is employee ID? 5. Now it is 7. I want to get it updated with 15. Okay, click on update. Employee has been updated successfully. Now see, it got updated with 15. Now I want to increase the salary of employee ID 1. It is 12. I want to make it 30. 1. See. Right? Now I know all these things. Now I know how to search it. Employee ID, I want to search for particular employee. Now I know how to add new employee. Some DS, gender, male, salary 34,000. Add it. Now I know how to update it. Now I know how to delete it. If I say delete 5, delete, 5th record will be deleted. Say I have only 4. Now I know how to search, how to get, how to save, how to update, and how to delete using ADO.NET. I know about SQL data reader. I know about SQL dataset. I know about data adapter. I know about table. I know how to prepare my connection object with the required credential information. I know how to prepare my command object, how to call direct SQL queries, how to call stored procedures, how to call views, and how to attach parameters to stored procedures, and how to display data using GridView. Any questions, guys?
No, sir.
That's all. The same thing is going to be repeated in your web application. So whenever you join your organization, you will see only stored procedures. All your SQL queries will be placed inside your stored procedures, right? So you need to go to database, look into the tables, look into the stored procedures to understand the structure of your database. And when you go to, if you want to see something, for example, if something is not working here, if something is not working on save, now in order to track it, where should I start my debugging? Click on this. Here you will see this. Right click on this. Go to implementation. It will take you to that method. Here see what is written over there. For example, by mistake, I gave it as employee 1. Now, if I try to save it, what happens? It throws the error. It's throwing the error, right? But see, if that error is thrown directly to the end user, then fine. But it is stopping your application. Now, it took me to the coding part. It should not be like this, because you did not implemented any exception handling manually. As I said, if the exception handling is not implemented by the developer, by default, this exception will be handled by the system. If that is handled by the system, it will stop your application, it will interrupt your application, it will interrupt your process and throw some technical message. To avoid this, what has to be done? This should be handled exclusively by your code. So now what should I do? I should implement my own exception handling. How do I implement this? So keep your entire action in try black. Keep your entire action in your try black. And there should be corresponding catch a black. Catch exception EX. So everywhere you will see this in your real-time application. Your complete action will be part of your try black. And whenever something happens in try black, at any point of time, at any line, if some exception, if some issue happens at any line, immediately it will go to catch A. From here, you can take the control and throw the exception. Here I can say something, message box. I can do whatever I need to. That's so I can take the control. I can show some error-friendly message, user-friendly message. Error occurred while saving data to database. You'll understand something. But if you want to send some additional information, you can do that. Find the technical info. Here I can attach this thing. This parameter. This is a like the master class, parent class of all exceptions. And this will be tracked into your EX. From here, EX comes with a property called message, EX dot message. Right? I can do anything from here. If exception occurs in your action, immediately you go to catch a flag. From here, I can do anything. Here I'm just displaying the message, but I can do anything, whatever I want to. Now execute it. Click on this. What happens? Error occurred while saving data to database. Find the technical information. See, this stored, which is saying this stored procedure is not found. There's no stored procedure with this name. Any question? That's why exception handling has to be implemented explicitly by the developer. If there is place inside try, your debugging process would become much more better, much more faster. You'll be able to identify the things very faster. Any questions, guys?
No,
Okay,
sir.
so tomorrow we will finish Windows. Then we will see just tomorrow how to. This is the core part because you should be aware of these things. These are very, very important. Okay. If you really understood whatever I explained in SQL Server and whatever I've explained in today class, you are good to work with any real-time application. Okay. You can easily understand the things once you join any real-time application. The similar thing will be there in every application. Okay. Right, guys. So tomorrow we'll finish this. So there are a few more things left. Tomorrow we will see how to create these menus and how to create your dialog boxes and how to play with your containers. Okay.
Oh,
then
yeah.
we start with web-based applications and web APIs. Okay. So this is the manual coding, right? If you want to make use of UDO.NET, everything has to be written manually, establishing connection and everything. If you want to make use of entity framework, this burden will be reduced because that is kind of wizard based where you can configure database context through wizard. Once it is configured, that entity framework provides a lot of built-in methods. Using those methods, you will be able to extract, delete, update directly without writing these things. Okay, that's why I wanted to let you know the core thing first. Now you are aware of how to do these things manually, right? Now if I give you some ready-made things, you will feel more happy because this much burden will be reduced on you. Okay, right, guys?
Yes.
So we will see tomorrow. Please do practice these things. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Right.
Thank you.